Hello and welcome to Advanced Tracking with TCMax. Generally speaking, the issue and turn-in of assets is really easy to perform in TCMax, but in some cases, we might have additional functions we wish to perform when handling specific assets. Today we're going to go over some of these scenarios. We'll cover the business problems people have and show how TCMax can help. In this video, we'll cover the topics shown here. A shortcut to each will be in the comments section so you can skip around at your leisure. It's very common to have assets issued out to a job that can't be completed in a single worker's shift. In this scenario, it's not practical to have the person going home turn in their assets and then reissue those same assets to the worker whose shift is just beginning. But the change in ownership and responsibility for those assets does need to be documented. Here's where Quick Turn at Shift Change comes to the rescue. From the Issued Items screen in TCMax, we can see Mike has some things issued out to him at a couple of different locations. And these are the assets that we're going to transfer because Mike wants to go home. So in the bottom right, I'll click Close. And in the top left, I'll go to the Item Quick Turn at Shift Change menu. And that'll bring up this Transfer Item Custody window. In the left-hand side here, I would scan Mike's ID because this is where the items are coming from or who currently has ownership. So I can put his ID in here, or I can hit this drop-down and pick his name out of a list of everybody that has stuff issued out to them. And we can see down here at the bottom, he's got things issued out to 2 different locations. So we're only concerned with the Building 13 stuff. So I'm going to limit this grid to just things at Building 13. I could have also unchecked some of these checkboxes so those wouldn't have transferred, but either way. And then in the top right, this is where we're transferring items to, so I'll scan the ID of the person that is taking ownership of these on the new shift. So I enter them in. I can enter in a location, so we're going to say it's going to still be Building 13. And then I can just hit the transfer checked items, and it'll transfer the items over to him.
Transferred.
At this time, TCMax is going to make sure that the person taking ownership of the items is certified to take them, and it's not overdue cal or overdue inspection, and all of those checks we do when we issue items, it's also going to do here. So if I close this window, I can go back to the Show Issued Items screen, and we can see that now Wes Kovacs has these items at Building 13. Mike still has a couple things from Dock 1, but we're going to give those to somebody else. One of the more challenging tasks an enterprise can undertake is to try and get everybody in the world to use the same terminology or input data in a uniform manner. The Catalog Setup screen within TCMax aims to assist with these efforts. From the Item Search screen in TCMax, we can see we've got 5 different hammers. Now, each one of them has its own unique barcode ID, which is important, so we can tell them apart. But unfortunately, they all have their own unique name. Some people call it hammers or beaters or mini sledge. And this is going to make viewing reports down the road a little difficult, and it'll just cause problems throughout the use of TCMax with this item. So what we're going to do is tell TCMax's catalog setup screen to use this part number and enforce uniformity throughout the organization. So in the bottom right, I'm going to close this screen, and then I'm going to go up to Tools, and then go to Catalog Setup, and this brings up the catalog screen. And from here, we can see the list of all the part numbers that are in my database. And this is built dynamically as you add new items. So you don't have to set this up ahead of time, but it could help if you want to get control over your assets right off the bat. So we're going to find our hammer part number here. And on the right-hand side, these are all the different fields of information that we can store on the item from the main screen in TCMax. And what this will allow us to do is set cost information, so it always costs this across the board, or especially name. I want to enforce this is the hammer and it belongs in the top drawer. I can set notes and dimensions and all of that. Manufacturer and manufacturer part numbers if I want. So all of these different fields of information, the custom ones, even the pictures, we can set. So what I can do is, since I have so many instances of a hammer that are named something different, I can just push selected fields, so anything with a checkbox checked, and then TCMax tells me, hey, I'm going to update all of these instances of your hammer, okay, and what shop it belongs to. So it gives you the ID number and the shop it belongs to. So I can check and uncheck these if I want, and then I can just accept it. Okay, and then once I've pushed that data out, it updates my database for me. So when I close that screen and go back to the search screen, we can see now everything is named Hammer. Okay, and all the storage locations are in the top drawer because I pushed that as well. Okay, so, but it didn't change the barcode ID or the parent or anything like that. So that's a way to, once your data has walked away from you and you get people naming things all over the place, this is a way to correct that. And then to prevent it from happening again, on the main screen of TCMax, if we go to add a new item, the first thing I can enter in is the part number. So if I put in the part number for the hammer, which to make it easy was just hammer, and then click or tab out of this field, it changes that to uppercase hammer. It gives me my name and the storage location of the top drawer, and it associates the picture with this item. So all of the catalog data that I filled out for this item is brought in. So when adding new items, if you've got a proper catalog set up, the first thing you should be doing is inputting a part number and then maybe filling out some individual serial number information or warranty or expirations or inspections or something like that. But for the most part, your data entry for the name is all uniform from the catalog. Many organizations provide equipment, clothing, and PPE to their workers. Tracking the issuance of these items is a great way to make sure a fair quantity is distributed to everyone. Historically, tracking this information of who can have what and how many over how long has been a terrible pain. Until now. So our organization issues boots out to its employees. Company policy says you're allowed to have 2 pairs of boots every 2 years. So we're going to enforce that in TCMax by going to Tools and Catalog Setup. And from the catalog screen, we will click on Boots, our Boots part number here in the left. And right here where it says allowed quantity in days, we're going to say we're allowed to have 2 pairs of boots every 2 years. And I'm going to save the entry. And I don't need to push this out to anyone. This is just saved for this item in the catalog. So when I close that screen and come back to the main screen, we'll go through an issue process. So I'm going to scan or type myself in.
User.
I'm going to say this is going to be a long-term issue.
Location.
And I'm going to issue myself the boots.
Enter quantity.
And I'm going to issue both pairs to myself now, just to make this easier to demo.
Issue.
Okay, and I issue 2 pairs of boots. It's an expendable item. I don't expect these back. That's why it's not showing as currently issued to me. But if I, even in the same transaction, try and bring up and issue another boot.
Enter quantity.
I'll say, hey, I'd like an extra pair. This could be now or 6 months from now.
Attention.
TCMax says attention, and the allowed quantity has been exceeded. So it tells me that we're limited to 2 over 720 days, that I already have 2, and do I want to override this? Now, the reason it's asking me this is because I have the administrative permission to override constraints. If I didn't, it would just stop the transaction here. So I can say no if I don't want to issue it out, or if I say yes, it'll issue it out to me and just create a record that we overrode the constraints. But we're warning you, hey, this person they're at their limit. So do we need to get a supervisor involved to override this? Was there a special event that requires that they need a new boot or whatever? So we can do both, where we stop the transaction right there, or we stop the transaction and then allow a supervisor to come in and override that. Issuing and turning in rechargeable batteries can be troublesome in an everyday work environment. Taking a battery that isn't fully charged can shorten the overall life of the battery. Best case, the workers taking the battery might have to waste time replacing it mid-shift. Worst case, battery failure could endanger the worker's safety. For these reasons and more, we can enforce charge time durations in TCMax. From the main screen in TCMax, we can see I'm brought up in the top left here, and in the bottom left, we can see that I've got a battery issued out to me for a radio. So I can turn this item in normally.
Turn in.
Just turns in as usual. The picture comes up, but if I click on this additional details tab, and I'll hit edit so it darkens up for you here a little bit, we can see this requires charging boxes checked, and the duration in minutes is 120. So I'm saying once I've turned this item in, I'm going to wait 2 hours before I can issue it back out again, and hopefully it's charging during that time. So if I save this item and bring somebody else up and try and issue them this item.
User. Location.
it doesn't issue it out to them. And in fact, we get this message up here that says the charging is incomplete. It's completed in a very accurate number of minutes, and then it wasn't issued out. So it's telling me how much longer it needs to sit on the charger before it actually gets issued out to me. So I would just grab another battery with a full charge and be on my way. Critically sensitive assets often require additional scrutiny before being issued out. TCMax can require certification before issuing assets, but we can also require a password before they can be issued out. On the main screen of TCMax, we can see that I've got this encryption key brought up and displayed, so we can see its picture. Believe it or not, these are still in use. If I click on this additional details tab, though, and I'll hit edit to darken it up, we can see that password required for issue is checked. So what that's going to do is require whoever I'm issuing this item to enter in their password. So while I'm logged into TCMax, I'm going to bring Mike up on the screen.
User.
And we'll say a location of
Location.
.1. And when I scan or type in this item to issue it out to Mike, TCMax is going to ask for a password. So I can't put my password in. Mike needs to put his in.
Issue.
And if he puts the right password in, it issues it out to him. Within TCMax, you have the ability to attach any file your computer can open to an item's barcode ID or part number or a person's ID number. On the main screen of TCMax, I've got a software license brought up on the right-hand side of the screen. Now I can attach files to either the barcode ID, which is going to be unique to this item, or the part number, which is going to be for any of this type of item. So that's commonly an MSDS sheet would be attached to the part number of a chemical, for example, or maybe a calibration certificate is going to be attached to the barcode ID of a specific calibrated item. So that's how it's commonly used. If I click on the attachments tab, and I'll darken it up here by clicking edit. If I double click on this, it's going to open it up in Word, and this is just my software license for that particular license. And then over on the part number side, I attached a link to a website. So when I double click on this, this is actually going to open up the last YouTube video that we did. TCMax is asset management. Okay. Now we can also attach files to people. So I'm brought up here on the left side of the screen, and in the very bottom here we can see there's a user attachments. So when I double click on that, I've created a PDF with a list of qualifications for this employee who happens to be me. So when I double click on that, we can see I can weld and rig, and there's a list of my fears on here. And so this is just a PDF document that I've brought up and attached to myself. So this could be emergency contact info or a link to their web page on your intranet or whatever you want. Any file that your machine can open can be attached to either people, part numbers, or barcode IDs. When handling a wide variety of assets, it's common for workers using those assets to notice little things here and there. Users can now save these opinions as log notes in TCMax. On the main screen of TCMax, I've got a vehicle displayed, and with that displayed, I can just click Control-N on my keyboard, and then I can type whatever log note I would like. I will say the tires are worn. Okay, and I can just click Save, or off to the right here, I can change the date and time. If this applied to something that happened last week, I could kind of backdate this record. But so why don't I change that? We'll say we'll change that to Monday. And I'll save it, and then that gets added as a log note for this item. Now if I click on the Log Notes tab, we can see that these are in descending order by date time. So the newest will be on top, and the oldest will be on the bottom. And we can see there's the event timestamp. That's the time that the record was written, the date and time. And then the user-defined date, that was what I changed to Monday. So we can see both when the record is created and when my comment applies. So these log notes can just be used as kind of a historical look back on this item and just things people have noticed about the items. It can be pretty helpful when we're talking about inspections. So if I'm inspecting this item and I want to see where my users of this item are saying, hey, this wiggles over here, or this knob's loose, or maybe this thing's not quite working right, it gives me a place to start looking when I'm doing more in-depth inspections. When performing a job, it's easy to forget a single item if multiple items are needed. Maintenance procedures in TCMax can be set up so a list of required assets gets generated for your specific task while you're still at the counter. From the main screen in TCMax, if I want to bring up the list that a maintenance procedure generates, I would just scan or type the ID number of the maintenance procedure into the main input box. And this is designed to come out of a receipt printer, like you would see at a restaurant. I've got a PDF printer set as the receipt printer so that it's easy for you guys to see it. So if I bring it up, here's the receipt that it kicks out. Okay, so for my tire change, I need this crescent wrench, and this item is not available because I only have one, and it's issued out to Wes, and he took it to building 13. So if I want to do this right now with my current setup, I need to go slap Wes around and take that wrench from him. Okay, I also have a pry bar, and it tells me where this thing is located in my shelving, so I can go locate it. And there's also a barcode number, or an actual barcode on the receipt, so I can scan it right off of this receipt. Sometimes you might find yourself having to issue out the same pile of expendables over and over. With TCMax's bulk issue functionality, this can now be done with a single barcode scan. From the main screen in TCMax, we're going to issue a pile of different consumable items out to Rick using the bulk issue barcode. So I'll type or scan Rick's ID.
User.
And then give him a location.
Location.
And then I would type or scan the bulk issue barcode to issue everything out.
Issue.
And when I do that, TCMax says issue, and then we can notice in the bottom left here, he got 1 reflective vest, 20 screws, 1 acrylic paint, 3 rifle magazines, just in case it goes poorly, and then 5 rags or towels. So all of those different transactions happened with the one barcode scan, so that'll save you some time. Another thing that it'll do is if I don't have enough in stock, so if I were to try and do the same bulk issue to Rick again, it's going to say that I don't have enough acrylic paint. So it'll warn you, hey, you've got enough for these other items that are on this list, but I don't have enough acrylic paint to completely fulfill this bulk issue. So it'll warn you if you don't have enough quantity as well. Thanks for watching this video on TCMax. For more information, visit our website at soaringsoftware.com, or you can call our support desk toll-free at 866-826-0444, or email us at help@soaringsoftware.com. Thank you.